Hey everyone, welcome to my channel. This is going to be the last video of the White and Silver Senior Mum series. So I did work on this mum quite a bit on either lives or in videos, and pretty much showed the entire mum being made with a couple of very small exceptions. So here I am blinging up the Peyton braid. If you don't know what the Peyton braid is, it's a braid that I created this year. It is a form of a military braid, and I do have a video for that, so you can go watch that. I am blinging it up for a couple of reasons. One is because I want this mum to be very blingy, and two, because military braids do stretch, and this one especially stretches because you make it kind of a little bit loose. And so I didn't want it to keep stretching and pulling and getting lower and lower. And then also, I don't want big holes between the braid where it's stretched. So, and I'm going to have quite a bit of weight on it as well. So I need to bling it up to keep it in place. I'm using this flower-shaped diamond mesh one strand at a time, and gluing that all along the braid is going to keep it from stretching any further. A little bit of stretching is okay, but this will help keep it in place. And this braid does twist, and I twisted it more when I attached it, which I showed that on another video. So when I attach the bling, I'm having to curve it around to follow along, and I am gluing on the flat, in the middle of the flat spaces, not on the pointed sections, just to be clear in case you can't see that. Now you could do this ahead of time if you knew that you were going to curve it and how you were going to attach it. You could go ahead and attach the bling, but I would not attach the bling straight. I would not have the braid laying on your table straight down and attach the bling that way and then try to curve it, because that's going to mess the bling up. So know how you're going to attach it before you attach the bling, if you want to do that before you attach it to the mum. It would be easier to attach the bling ahead of time. Like I said, you need to know exactly how you're going to do it, and then if you changed your mind, you probably wouldn't be able to attach it that way. So it's up to you how you do it. This, like I said, this is a little bit more work because it's upright and it's all twisted, and I'm having to, maneuver around that and maneuver around the other braids and chains and stuff. So again, that's up to you how you want to do it. I knew I wanted to bling this braid out, but I waited a little bit and I noticed it was stretching, so I was like, I need to get that done before I do anything else. And I do bling all three sides of this braid. This braid is kind of a triangular shape is what you end up with. So you're going to have 3 points and 3 flat sides. So again, I'm attaching it to the middle of the flat side. So I'm just going to let you guys watch me work, and I'll try to play some music, and hopefully the music isn't too loud or too crazy. I just use YouTube free music, so don't judge. That's I use what's available, and yeah. Okay guys, thanks for watching, and I'll start chatting when I do something different. All right, here it is. Look how beautiful this chain turned out. You see how it twists, and then I've got that flower diamond mesh down the center of all three sides. I think it turned out absolutely beautiful. I'm so happy with it. That chain, or braid, I'm sorry, is done with white, pewter, and silver glitter ribbons. And then with the silver flower mesh, I think it turned out so pretty. I'm going to add a double strand of this to the base of the mum as well. I glue like the top 4, top 6 of the flowers. And you do have to be careful if you attach these standing up, because until the glue sets, it will just slide right down. So you want to hold it and make sure that glue cools down and sets. And I didn't show all of that, so just beware of that. I didn't hold it for 2 seconds and then let it go. I let it cool completely before I let go. And I realized that I forgot to add some really small ribbons for trinkets and such. You know, I had done the diamond mesh, or not diamond mesh, the diamond dust, the really small, like I think it's 3/8 for some of that kind of stuff, but I usually do like twine or these very thin ribbons, and I just completely forgot. So what I did was I glued them under some of these loops here, like I'm showing, and I really made sure I glued them down. I glued them to the base of the mum, but also to the loop. So they're glued on both sides, and I'm just tucking them under where the loops are. So I'm lifting up a loop and I'm going to glue it right there, but I'm going to make sure the glue is on both sides so it really stays. So I usually attach these to the backer with glue and staples, and then I did go ahead and add some staples to those. The one on the other side, I couldn't get to the backer, but on this side I can, so I'm going ahead and add some staples too, because I don't have the flower on, I don't have the backer on yet, so I can still add some staples on this side. So that made me feel a little better, because, you know, if you use a really heavy trinket, like I'm going to do a big disco ball and some bells and stuff, that can weigh it down, but, you know, just make sure you have them glued on there really tightly, or really good if you attach them later on after you've got your mum built. And I will show you some other ways to attach trinkets. Actually, I think I did that in a live, if I remember correctly. Attached some with some string or cord or twine to some of the braids, like tied them on. Because even though I added like 4 or 6 of these, I can't remember how many, it still wasn't enough for everything I needed. So, you know, I've been doing this for years, but I still forget things. Especially at the beginning of the season, it seems like I have to get back in the groove of things and remember all those little things. I'm going to add one more on the right side, and I hope this doesn't mess with you too much turning the screen sideways, but I figured it would fill in the device better, whatever you're watching this video on. It'll enlarge it a little bit better, I think. I just wanted you to be able to see what I'm doing. Stapling that to the backer. Give it a couple of staples at least. I think I get that ribbon at Hobby Lobby, if I remember correctly. It's a really pretty silver, very thin ribbon, and if I remember correctly, in the Christmas section. I think the Christmas section is a really great place to get all kinds of cords and twines and small ribbons for attaching trinkets and embellishments. Plus, they have all those pretty things to put on your Christmas tree that you can put on a mum, on these senior mums, like the crystals that I had hanging on, kind of on the left side. I'm sure I probably already showed that in another video, or maybe this one. I don't even know. Or if it was on the live. I don't remember which one because these are all going to be out of order because some of them, like I said, some of it I worked on during the live, and then others I did videos. So the live would come out, of course, before the video would, so you're kind of watching some stuff backwards. But anyway, there's some crystals, like the very big, large disco ball that I'm going to attach to it. That all came from the Christmas section. So you can find some really pretty stuff over there in different colors too. So always look at Hobby Lobby for that kind of stuff, and other craft stores. You know, look, even Walmart stuff. There's going to have some really pretty stuff and really pretty ribbons. So here's the feather boa I'm using, and I honestly don't remember if this was from Hobby Lobby or Michael's, but I'm guessing one of the two. And I'm going to double it up so it's really thick and pretty. You could triple these and quadruple these and make them if you wanted one that was really thick. And then if you know somewhere where you can get really, really full ones, you know, get them from there. But whatever works best for you. See how I put it together and it makes it really full and pretty. And $4 for a feather boa is, I think, a really good price. And I'm going to actually attach it. I usually attach them kind of lower on the backer, but I'm going to attach it up because that makes it the perfect height. Then I kind of liked the feathers on part of the backer there. And I'm just looking to see how it's going to look. Where exactly I want it. And I'm going to use a tip from Connie, so that's some chipboard, and I'm just going to cut a section of that off, and I'm going to attach the feather boa using that. I used to attach the feather boa directly to the backer, stapling and gluing it, but it can kind of fall behind and kind of, I mean, it would still be on the side, but it, you know, some of it might get hidden. So this tip, sorry, Connie. This tip will kind of make it stand out a little bit off your backer, and probably like even more if you make that even longer, it would make it come off even further. So I'm just going to glue that together to hold the feather boa in place. And of course I got too much glue. Kind of let that set a little bit. And then you just attach that chipboard to your backer, and it sets the feather boa kind of off a little bit. Kind of makes it stick out a little bit. Like I said, if you make it longer, it's going to stick out even more, but you want to make sure that you don't see the chipboard from the front of the mum, of course. Making it the same color using white chipboard is even better because it's going to blend in. And I'm guessing you could, I'm not guessing, you could take your feather boa and kind of glue the feathers to that chipboard as well if you needed to hide it, if it ended up showing some. So you just put some glue on it and then make sure the feathers get glued to it. So there's what it looks like from the back, and you don't have to worry about it showing from the back. That's not a big deal. You can glue the feathers down, some of the feathers down, to kind of blend it in, but using white, you could use poster board if you don't have any chipboard. So that will really help hide that and camouflage it. And then I'm going to attach my flower, attach my chenille stem so my flower doesn't come off. I like to leave my chenille stem kind of long and staple it down. And then I'm also gluing on the inside. That's what works for me. You do what works for you. Everybody does it a little differently, so find which way works for you, which way you like. Just make sure that your flower is secure on the mum so it doesn't fall off. Or if somebody, kind of yanks on it or something, you want it to be secure so it's not going to pull apart. But if somebody yanked on it really hard, it's probably going to tear and rip, but there's nothing you can do about that. Kids will be kids and be mean. So I did have a friend, a long-time mum maker, that the mother brought a mum back the day after homecoming and demanded her money back because the flower was obviously ripped off. You could tell that it had been ripped off, and she refused. She said, "No, I'm not I'm not giving you your money back because some kid grabbed it and ripped it off. Oh, I should have said the mother came in and said the flower fell off, quote, fell off. And she looks at it, investigates, and she could tell that it had been ripped off. And she said, no. She said, I can tell that somebody ripped it off, and I'm not giving you your money back because someone ripped on it. You know, I can't prevent them from ripping on it. I can make you a mom. I can't make you take care of the mom. So she's a lot like Connie. She don't take crud off people. So I was really paranoid after that, you know, making sure that I really have my mum flowers on good. But again, you know, if somebody's going to do something like that, there's nothing you can do about it. And I'm just gluing the flower petals to the backer as well. That is for a couple of reasons. That is extra security on the mum flower, but it also will cover up all that underneath, you know, the staples and the backer and stuff, because you don't want that to show. And I'm just twisting that up. I'm going to add a dab of glue there at the bottom to the center points. And then I don't know if I show this, but I do later come in and add a touch of glue and a couple other points in the middle of that feather boa because it won't stay twisted otherwise. I don't think you necessarily have to twist it, but kind of glue them together in spots so it doesn't look like two boas, so it looks like one. But I just added just a little bit of glue in between, in probably 3 or 4 places, and it was good. There's the zigzag braid. The only thing about adding that feather boa, it kind of camouflaged that zigzag braid. I was kind of wishing I'd put the zigzag on the other side. Really, really happy with this mum, the way it turned out. Here is another backer, a clean backer to put on the very back. There's a glossy side and a dull side if you buy backers. So I prefer to have the glossy side out and the dull side in. You just want to cover all that stuff up, so you cover up your staples and your chenille stems and everything else. You don't want them to wear a mum with the staples showing, because that's going to catch on their clothes, it's going to tear up the clothes, it's going to hurt, and then it doesn't look clean. So you want to be sure and do that. Before I add that though, I add a ribbon necklace, because I want to give this person, whoever ends up with this mum, I want them to have 2 options for wearing this. So that's approximately how long I'm at. I made it pretty long since it's a big mum. I wanted to make sure I had plenty of length for them to tie a bow and wear it like a ribbon necklace. And this ribbon, I believe I ordered it off Amazon last year. It's a single-faced satin ribbon, so that means that one side is shiny, one side's dull, and it's pretty thin. It's not thin, but it's not the thickness of regular satin ribbon that I like. So I won't be ordering it again, but I doubled it up. That way the shiny side is on both sides and it's extra secure, because this is a heavy mum and I want to make sure that the ribbon is nice and thick. So the 2 ends I glue together and then I glue it down to the backer. I usually just do 1 single ribbon for the necklace. Each piece, if I make it 2 pieces, single, not doubled up like this. Again, I doubled it because that ribbon is thinner. Plus, I think it was pretty too, doubling it up. Then I'm adding some staples. Just want it to be nice and secure. Make sure it doesn't pull out. I know some people attach like a key ring or something, different kinds of metal rings to the top of the mum for hanging after homecoming is over. I feel like my loop or my ribbon necklace works just fine for that. You can see I'm having trouble. I didn't have enough room to lay it out across the table, and I didn't feel like cleaning up the table. Plus, I had a small area to work with the camera, so it was causing me some issues. If I didn't have the camera going and all that, I would have had more room to work with. I wouldn't have been struggling. Sometimes trying to film something makes it twice as hard to make the mum, so you guys need to keep that in mind, please. I get some comments sometimes because people think I don't know how to do something quicker, but like trying to film it changes the whole dynamic of making a mum. Again, adding some glue, and then put that one on that side, and I've got the glue on my thumb or my finger, and that hurt. It's not homecoming season until you burn yourself with hot glue. Again, adding some staples, and you see that big, I have a really big safety pin on there, kind of a, it's not a regular safety pin, it's very heavy and kind of decorative in a way. So they can actually use that as well for hanging. Whatever you want to attach to the back of the mum, though, for them on how to wear or for hanging up, that's up to you. Whatever your preference is, whatever you like, you can do that. It's just not something I'm going to do right now. I don't care about adding some kind of metal ring to the back. If somebody requested it, then I would certainly do that for them, but I feel like they can hang it with either of those, so. Make sure you glue it good. You want it pressed down really, really well. Just keep pressing down and making sure that it stays. Sometimes I'll use clips and clip it all around to hold it in place. Now, if you get too much glue, it's going to ooze out, so be careful. But I want those pressed together very, very well. I don't want any gaps between the backers. I can't stand that. So there's some of my clips. And if you just clip it all the way around until that glue sets, that's going to help keep those pieces pressed together. And those pink ones are from the Dollar Tree. I really, really love those. Trying to find something that'll fit down in there. It's hard to do it on the bottom ones. Those are the most difficult. I like to make sure it's really, really secure back there. I just want it to look really clean and good and professional. Alligator clips will sometimes work on the bottom there. You can kind of push it up in there between the ribbons. Very happy with how this mum turned out. At this point, it's already finished and already uploaded on Etsy for sale, so you are more than welcome to go to my Etsy shop and look and see what I charge for things. Just keep in mind that what I'm charging on Etsy is not what I would charge locally, because first of all, for any mums, whether it's a custom order or a pre-made, and same with a lot of the supplies too, especially the bigger supplies. The smaller ones like trinkets and stuff, I do like a calculated shipping, but for the bigger stuff, I do free shipping which means I've got the shipping cost estimated and factored into the cost of the mum. So you got to figure that out. Plus, I also have to charge for shipping supplies. So big boxes are not cheap. They're very expensive. They can be up to like $5.50 a piece. It's ridiculous. You can spend a minimum of like $3, and then of course, like the post office has free boxes, but they're smaller boxes, so you can use those for ring mums, wrist mums, even some peewee mums. But for the bigger ones, you're going to have to buy boxes. And then I always add tissue paper, and then like airbags or bubble wrap. And then there's tape, tons and tons of tape. Then you've got to have a scale, you've got to have a label printer, and the labels, which is not cheap at all. Trying to think what else. I put thank you cards in there. What else? I can't even think. It's a lot. It adds up. And then you've got Etsy fees. So anywhere that you sell online, you're going to have fees. And with places like Etsy, there's several fees. And if they sell it off like a Google ad, they're going to take a huge percentage off. So you have to factor all that into your cost of your mum. So again, if you're selling locally and you want to go look at my costs and you're like, oh, that's, more than I'm charging, maybe I should charge more, just remember to factor in all that into the pricing. And then if you are curious about how to price and stuff, I don't like giving advice about that because I think it's different for everybody. But Connie has a very good video that she did last year called Knowing Your Worth, and she does talk about pricing and gives advice about how to price for your mums. And so I just recommend that you go watch that video because I can't say it any better than that. Okay, so now I'm going to attach these big trinkets. I couldn't remember. It's been too long already. I've made so many videos and lives. Which one, if I did this in a live or a video or what. So it's a giant jingle bell. Again, that probably came from Hobby Lobby. I'm quite certain it did. The big disco ball. Lots of pretty ornaments that you can attach to a mum, especially a bigger mum and a special mum like a senior mum. We want to have some different things on there. I'm searching for one of those smaller diamond dust ribbons, and that's going to fit through the top of this cowbell perfectly. Those cowbells also come from Hobby Lobby in their regular crafting section, and I love them because they have a wider top, so these ribbons, like these 3/8 and smaller ribbons, will fit through there perfectly, and you can glue it to themselves. You don't have to tie it on. Now for this picture frame, this too comes from Hobby Lobby in the Christmas section, and I removed that ribbon that comes on it because I'm going to put my own ribbon through that little hole at the top. It's like a metal hook right at the top, or loop, I guess I should say. It's not a hook, it's a loop. I like adding these real pretty, they're glittery, they're a little bit heavy, but it can handle it. But adding those pretty picture frames so they can, put one picture from their senior year in it. It just gives it a little something extra special and personalized. I have a foam glitter star, so I'm just going to run that ribbon through the hole and then glue the ribbon to itself just like I did the cowbell. It'll just be something fun and glittery to put right there on the mum. Like I said, I just glue the ribbon to itself, so it just makes a loop around the star. It just adds something fun and sparkly. I've got this real pretty crystal. This, again, Hobby Lobby Christmas section. I think you get 4 of them. Just find another one of those ribbons to attach it to. You see where I want to hang it. I'm going to put it right there in that little hole. So of course I've got extra ribbon there. I attached way too long a ribbon, but I didn't know what I was going to attach, so not a big deal. I'll use it on something else. I also like adding stuff like this, you know, real sparkly and pretty. Now just throw that in my ribbon box or scrap box and I'll use it on something else. There we go. So pretty. Now some bling on this military braid, and I'm just kind of measuring to see how much I need. I'm not going to do the whole length. I'm just going to do right there where it connects with the patent braid. And this is some of that pretty diamond mesh, the big oval that Connie got for me. Diamond wrap, I don't know what you want to call it. But I am going to add some oval rhinestones to it. And I'm using the beacons and the hot glue coat. Because, you know, with hot glue, it'll stick immediately, but a lot of times things like that will end up falling off later. So I'm using the beacons too to hopefully make them stay longer and not as easy to fall off. So it's like half and half. The beacons is on the bottom half of the oval and the hot glue is on the top. If you guys have a better idea, you know, go ahead and comment that and let me know if you've got other glues that work better for you. But I'm just going to go through and do all of these. I actually don't put the rhinestones on. I think it's like 3 that are on the very bottom of the military braid. I was actually 1 shy of oval rhinestones. I ran out. So I just didn't put any on the very bottom of the military braid because you're not going to see those anyway. And you don't have to put rhinestones on these. They're pretty as they are, but it just adds a little something else, something extra.
Alright, so I'm just going to start at the very top, and you want to be careful when you're gluing upright like this, any of this heavy bling, because it can just slide right down if you don't let it set. So I was holding it in place until the hot glue cooled and it set good. I'm just going to glue it down the center and put the glue on the back of those, on, you know, a few of them, 4, 5, 6, however many you can do at a time, and then just glue them down. You may only want to do 3 at a time. You can do as many or as few at a time as you want to. Can't do too many because the hot glue will start to set and then it's going to be worthless. But I just thought that was so pretty. I really wanted this mum to be really sparkly and pretty and lots of glittery and sparkly shiny stuff, so I feel like I accomplished that. Just going to slowly work my way down. Now you can go ahead and bling up braids before you attach them, but if you're going to do anything where you're curving them or anything, they may not work the way you want them to if you've already got the bling attached. Or when you do curve them, it may force some of them to come undone, or it just won't bend the way you want it to. So just be aware of that. It is a little bit more difficult to attach it after it's made and when it's hanging up. You could lay your mum on the table as well. So I think you can see three of those, I think, did not have the bling on it, like I said. And then I wanted to leave the bubble part of this braid alone because I want to leave it as a spot to put, possibly put like a custom cutout or something if they choose personalization. Could also glue trinkets to it or something, but I just wanted to leave some spaces. And it kind of shows more of a difference between the military and the bubble braid. So you get, since I made the military and then started making the bubble braid all in one, it really makes them stand out as different. Again, I thought that was so pretty. I love that bling. I'm so happy she's got me all that bling. I love having some different stuff to use this year. And I used a few of them on this mum. Right now I'm going to bling this little love braid. And I'm using some more bling she sent me. This is the flower shape, but it's the smaller one. And it fit just perfectly right down the center of that love braid, right there on the point of it.
And again, I'm going to hot glue this on. Just start with the first 2 or 3. And if you have finger protectors, of course you can wear those. I forget half the time. I'm also going to add a little beacons here and there to some of these, just for a little extra security. And then just slowly make my way around it. And since that braid is just circled around the patent braid, I can just move it as I need it. And I'm just gently tapping that right in the center, right on the point of that love braid. I know I kind of get in front of the camera, but you know, I'm trying to work, so it's hard not to get in front of it a lot of times. Just doing a little bit at a time, gently tapping it right there in the center. And the camera keeps wanting to focus on my shirt instead of what I'm doing, so apologize for that. There's nothing I can do about it. No way for me to know that it was doing that while I was filming, because obviously I'm focused on what I'm doing and not what the camera is seeing. Just that last little bit there, glue that down, and then move it where that's in the back, and where the braid was started and ended and attached together, I kept that in the back as well. There it is. Isn't that perfect? That's what that ribbon looks like. I believe that's still a diamond mesh ribbon. Just there's so many different forms of it now. But I thought these braids look so good. They're all blinged up, so pretty. Very, very happy with it. All right, so I was finished with that, but I am adding a little bit more to this video. So here is the graduation cap I made for it. I actually already made it and attached it and wasn't sure what happened with the videoing, so I made another one, but I can't show attaching it because I already have it attached. But I did make another one for you guys so you could at least see how I did that. So I went ahead and attached one on top of the other. Now I like this cardstock. It's a glitter cardstock, but it's smooth. It's shiny and smooth. The problem with that is it's very difficult to get anything to glue to it to hold. So I did have some issues. So I would recommend just using the regular glitter cardstock that's rough, because I didn't even think about how difficult it would be to make stuff glued to it because of how slick it is. I have played around with this design a few times to get it right, and I had actually worked on the very first one on a members only live. So from talking or chatting with the members while I was making it, and then just from making some, I've learned a few things that I like better. So I've changed it up a few times, but I just cut this out on Cricut Design Space, and I realized I attached this the wrong direction, so now I got to take those staples out. But I just cut out these long pieces. I just shaped them myself and did the sizing and everything. Yeah, it needed to go the other direction, because when I fold down the little flaps, after I cut the little flaps and fold them down, I want this shiny side showing. And so the long piece needs to be on the inside. And you see the glue's not setting. Now I can staple it together. right, I'm going to cut little slots or slits all the way down. Not all the way down, but all the way around the circle there. Just at where the glitter meets it, the cardstock meets itself. So this idea was Amanda American. You know, most people, Connie calls her American, so y'all probably know who I'm talking about by saying American. She's the one that came up with the making those little folds. And then you just glue that onto the bottom side of the square or the diamond shape. And see, when you look up inside it, not that you'll see that after it's attached, but I just like it knowing that it looks cleaner. And I double side the square because, you know, I don't know once it's attached if you're going to be able to see the underside of it or not. So I wanted both sides to be glittery. I'm just going to glue it down. And I'm scratching it since the first one. I noticed that it was difficult to get it to stick to itself. It wanted to come back undone. I thought I would try to scratch it up a little bit, but it really wasn't scratching up very well. Tried a few things, but it may have helped a little bit. I don't know. So I'm using this glue, and then I'm going to use hot glue as well. For, like I talk about, hot glue will make it stick quickly, and then the beacons will hopefully make it last. The only issue I had was once I attached it to the mum. Of course, I let it set completely, but what I did, how I attached it was I put glue on the inside of that part where my finger is. So all around the sides, but also at the top, and then I just put it on the top of the mum flower, kind of off to the right. And so the petals that were inside of that bottom part, you know, would stick to the glue, and so it would, that's how it was glued on. The only problem was when I added hot glue inside there, it made those two pieces separate from the heat. It pulled them apart, and I think it's because they're so glossy that it made it easy for it to come apart. So I had it on the mum, and I'm trying to get it to set on the flowers and get the glue to set, but then it's also peeling apart, so I'm having to re-glue that part, and I'm having to hold it together. So it was kind of a pain, and mostly because of this particular cardstock. Don't think I would have had that issue with regular glitter cardstock. But it was easy to get on the mum. Like I said, you just want to put glue inside that hole there so you won't see the glue. And then you can put some glue on the back side where it's touching anywhere where it's touching the flowers, you can put glue. And then those pieces wanted to separate. So it was a little bit of a pita, but like I said, it was mostly just because of the cardstock I used. But you see, it's just a cute little graduation cap. And some of them I bling up even more. I use the diamond mesh ribbon on them. But you know, you can just do the glitter cardstock too. It's pretty too because it's glittery and sparkly. So it's whatever you like. Yeah, there is where I put the glue all on the inside, but I also put it, and you can glue around the edging too if you want to make sure that's even more secure. That was something else I did after it was attached, just in certain places, just to make sure, since it was wanting to pull apart. Okay, so see, it's already on there. You can see it's on there nice and secure now. I did the tassel with the 2024 and a little jewelry piece, little charm, sparkly charm. And I just glue it down with that. See, you can. I'm trying to show you where all I glued it. There's a little bit of glue back behind it, but it's on there good now. And I wanted just a small one because that custom cutout was so big. I didn't need anything big right there. All right, here's the tassels, and that's where I'm going to run the ring through. Here's the little 2024 charms. I got both of those from Amazon, and I need to add them to my Amazon store. I have not done that yet, I don't think. And I'm also going to use one piece of this jewelry strand. I don't remember. I've had this for years, so I don't remember if I got it from Michael's or Hobby Lobby or if they even still have those or not. I think it was probably a clearance find, but I can just run that 2024 right through there, and I think that little charm, sparkly charm, just adds a little something extra. You don't have to do those, but you just simply run that ring through that top part there, and then I also make sure it goes through the center of the loop ribbon that you use for attaching. That way I know it's lined up in the center and it's going to hang correctly. I actually had to take the 2024 off, attach it, and then put the 2024 back on. Kind of got out of camera range, I'm sorry. It's hard to work and know if you have your hands exactly where you're supposed to have them. There. See, now I put the 2024 and then tighten that back up. If you watched my Hobby Lobby haul the other day from, I did a live showing my haul. I got some more of those rings just from the jewelry section. And then I'm just simply going to glue a rhinestone on the top to hold that in place. Okay, and I'm going to use half beacons, half hot glue, because I don't trust the hot glue by itself. So I try to just put that on one side and then the hot glue on the other side. And then try to put that where you want it, and then put the rhinestone over it. You really need like 3 hands for this. And try to put it in the middle, but you know, if you can't get it perfectly centered, that's fine too. It doesn't have to be exactly in the middle. But isn't that cute? And you can see it wasn't difficult to make. And you just put the hot glue around there. I would definitely put it around the sides and be careful about putting it on the inside in case it makes sure separate too. Now for some bows. And I'm using this pretty silver metallic wired ribbon. I don't have a lot left on the roll, so hopefully I can make a pretty bow out of it. I'm sorry my dogs are wrestling in the background if you can hear them. They're just a-playing. And usually I just freehand making my bows. And you can do the loops like this to make sure that they're the same size, but you can use your mat. I've got several bow tutorials and like tree topper bows and bows for wreaths and stuff, and I show using the mat to make your loops, but you know, so they're all even, but you don't have to do that. You can freehand it like this and just keep forming loops. And I always twist the ribbon after I form a loop. Just the way I was taught makes a better loop. And you go back and forth from the left to the right, left to the right. Not sure where I'm going to attach it. Just kind of move it around. It actually ended up being way too big, which I'll show. So I redo it. But yeah, I want to throw that in there because I don't want y'all to think that the first time I make something that is perfect and then I'm happy with it. You know, sometimes I have to redo things. So don't worry about it if you have to redo stuff. It's just part of it. Kit Kat is hacking. Sorry about that. Alright, so I'm running a zip tie around it. You can use a zip tie and a chenille stem. You can use just a chenille stem. It doesn't matter, whatever you like best. You can really tighten up the center good with a zip tie usually. So that's one of the reasons why I like it. And I'm going to put a pretty embellishment right in the center. Again, that's something else that Connie sent me. Very pretty. Just going to run a chenille stem right through the back because it has a hole. And then you wrap it around your bow, the center of your bow. Simple, simple. And then you can use the chenille stem to help you attach it to the mum. Now I'm just going to place it in different areas of the mum and see if I like it anywhere. And having that chenille stem will help you also, where you can kind of semi-attach it and, you know, step back and look at it and see if you like it, and then you don't have to worry about it being permanently attached and not liking it. So that will help you. You know, I just kind of have to wrap it around a braid or something, and then I can see if I like it. Then I can just move it somewhere else so I'm not damaging anything. You can glue your bows on. You can tie and glue them on, whatever works for you. But this right here will, you know, if you're not sure where you want your bow in the exact position or whatever, you can do this and then step back and really get a good look at it. You can also take pictures and then look at the pictures, because sometimes you may be fine with it in person, but you'll take a picture and you're like, and then you can kind of look at it in a different point of view when you take a picture or a video. And so if something's not quite working for you or you're not sure about something, take some pictures and look at it, and a lot of times that will, like, something will stand out to you, and you can fix it like that. Now move it all around. Just wasn't happy with it. It was just too big. So taking it apart. Taking that off, and then I'll cut the zip tie. The only problem with some of these ribbons, and this one in particular, they will show where they've been bunched up, so you have to be careful if you redo the bow. Some ribbons are very forgiving, some are not. And I think part of it was because this is a metallic ribbon. And yes, I am keeping the wires in this one because I want to do something, you know, I want the tails to look real pretty, and so you still have to have the wires if you want to spiral them or just make them kind of curvy and stuff. You need the wire still in there. So when it does get shipped and stuff, it, you know, the bow can easily get smashed because of that. But I'm going to, what I did last year was I made a little video, or maybe it was the year before. I think it was the year before. I made a little video, a very short video. I don't think it was a shorts, but just showing them how to fluff the loops back up, and then also how to do the tails. So when they get it out of the box and hang it up, they can fix the bows. Yeah, I'm looking at that, see how I like that. That's much better. I'm just going to do the chenille stem instead of a zip tie, because you could see the zip tie. I didn't like that either. So using a silver metallic chenille stem on the silver metallic ribbon works really, really well. And I love that center embellishment. It's so pretty. I'm still not 100% sure where I want it. And there on the left, I just showed a picture of it on the mum, the finished mum. That's where it ended up. Much better. Not overpowering the mum at all. I'm just going to trim that off. And then I had enough to make 2 smaller bows out of what was left. So it worked out perfectly. I'm going to try a couple of things with the tails. A lot of times I will spiral them, so I roll it up like this, and then you just kind of pull on the end and it'll do a spiral. Sometimes they look better than other times. Sometimes I don't like it. And that was one of those times I didn't like it. So what I'm doing now is I'm holding the top of the tail and then I'm running my hand down where the wire is on both sides of the ribbon, the right and left side of the ribbon, and it just makes it do this nice curve. Very happy with it now. Now I'm going to really attach it because I had only partially attached it. So I'm just running it through the patent braid. And I'm trying to run both chenille stems through parts of the patent braid so you can't see the chenille stem on the outside of the braid. Not that I think it would be, you'd be able to see it too well, but still I want to make it as clean as possible. And then I'm just going to pull it against the patent braid as tight as I can and then twist the chenille stems together 2 or 3 times. And then I tuck the ends of the chenille stem into the patent braid so you can't see those either. And then I'm going to cut a V shape on the bottom of these ribbons. Now these ribbons can fray a little bit, so you want to be careful of that. And these metallic ribbons, you have to be very, very careful if you, I didn't have good scissors, got a better pair of scissors, but if you use like a lighter on the end for the fraying, you have to be very, very careful because the metallic ribbons will burn. So if I use a lighter on them, I only use it on the corners of the V and very, very quickly. Just be very cautious. And I've got the lighter going. You can hear it just very, like I said, very quickly on the corners. And we're good. It still may fray a little bit, just got to be careful. Sometimes that's another thing, you know, right before I ship, I try to check all that stuff, and if I need to trim any ends, I will make it as clean as possible when they get it. I think that bow turned out really, really pretty. And I like the way the tails curved. They curved out and then they curved in, and it just did that on its own. You know, I didn't force that. It just, when you pull on them like that, I don't want to call pull, but you know what, when I was running my hand down the wires of the tails, it's just going to naturally do something. It's going to curve in its own way how it wants to do, and I really like the way it curved. But when I ship it, I'm going to have to roll those up so they don't get damaged, and they'll have to do that themselves. So I'm making 2 cheer bows out of the rest of that ribbon. I already made that one, but I'm going to show you another one. Just find the center. And they just happen to be long enough to make 2. You just make 2 loops. I screwed it up. It wasn't centered. Make a loop, make another loop right over where you marked the center. So it's like that. And then pinch it. Oh, I was going to put a 2024 over the chenille stem, so that one's going to have another 2024. So you just pinch it in the middle. Make sure, again, you've got your center. And I got the tails where I want them. See how I twist those loops so they make that? You pinch in and then pinch out. And then you just wrap your chenille stem around that. You're going to have a cute little cheer bow. Cheer bows are one of my favorites for mums, especially the bigger ones. I like even the boutique style. I like the pinwheel style, and then those quick easy bows that I make for a lot of things. I really like those as well. Here, see? And then it's got a 2024, so you got another one of those. Again, you want to cut your V shape. Those are the scissors I use on wired things. And then I'm looking around again, seeing where I like it. I kind of liked it on the end of that, but then I also, something about the bow being right in the middle I didn't like. Trying it in just different places. And then I ended up settling for the middle of the military braid there where it dipped down. So one up the top there, I felt like it kind of needed a little something on that side. So again, I just ran it. I think I ran the chenille stem through part of the military braid on one side, and then the chenille stem was on the outside of the military braid on the other side of the chenille stem. And again, you just twist the chenille stem together and then tuck it into the braid so the ends are sticking out. And just kind of twist it how you want it. And then the same thing, I'm running that through the military braid. Just however you can get it through there and on it without damaging the braid. Sometimes it's harder than others. And you can glue, like I said, you can glue your bows on if you want. I'm a attach by stapling or twisting a chenille stem kind of girl. Sometimes I'll do both. Sometimes I'll add some glue too if I feel like it needs it. But I like having the option of moving something if I don't like where it is when it comes to big things like that. I'm so happy with that, and I love the bows. I thought they were so pretty. There it is. Thanks, guys. Patent braid. Bling up. Bubble braid. Turned into a military braid. So bubble to here, then regular military blinged out. Cottage ladder, also blinged out. Loop chain, and add up to 8 letters. Diamond dust, bling, this mylar ribbon. Grad custom cutout, 2 grad cap custom cutouts on glitter ribbon, which goes down and turns into this loopy chain. There's a pretty bow on the top. There's a class of, which will come with the stickers, and they can add it themselves. Victory braid with 2 different silver ribbons, silver glitter. Big pretty bow. So you've got pretty white and silver ribbons underneath all these braids and chains, along with diamond dust. There's some bling coming down. There is a big giant bell. This pretty crystal. A senior trinket with a bow. A little grad cap in the middle of that bow. And And underneath those, this huge bow with this gorgeous bling in the center. There is a picture frame. This is a 2.8 inch picture frame. A Mobius braid with white and silver diamond dust. A homecoming trinket, double feather boa. A zigzag braid blinged out with diamond dust and bling added to it. A homecoming ribbon. So it's a white ribbon with silver shimmer letters. There are the numbers for that trinket. So there's more diamond dust. A big giant disco ball or mirror ball with a bow. There is a cowbell. And here's all the pretty ribbons you can see. Another bow. This one has 2024 in the center. This is a love braid that I connected end to end to put on the patent braid, so it's circled around that. There's the feather boa. Here is a big custom cutout. It says senior, it's 3 layers. This is a 6.5 inch flower. Then a grad cap that was handmade by me. It's got silver glitter cardstock. The bling up here, the tassel, the 2024 with the little pretty gem. And then you can see all the loops and spikes and twisted loops and deco mesh tubing that decorates the back. There is a double ribbon for the ribbon necklace, as well as a pin-on with a giant pin. And those are 30-inch streamers and braids. And that is a full-size mannequin, and that is what it looks like.